for the death of their colleagues at last week's fire in the Johannesburg Central Business District. Workers took to the podium at the memorial service at Ellis Park for the 3 firefighters who died during the fire at the Lisbon Building in Johannesburg. Now, they candidly exposed firefighters' plight and demanded danger pay. And joining us now in studio is SABC reporter Gillian Pillay, who's been following the story for us. Gillian, thanks for coming in this evening. Well, first and foremost, there was quite a huge turnout for this memorial service. Who was there?
Quite a huge turnout, you know. We knew that scores of firefighters were going to converge on this particular memorial. We know that an incident like this happened in 2015, so we were expecting them to really highlight working conditions. You know, you can suspect one thing, but it actually happening is something else. You know, initially there was very little pomp and ceremony in the beginning, and then the colleagues of these 3 workers took to the podium and they literally set the tone for what was coming. We were basically taken by surprise, and the union basically ran the first half of this memorial. And I think this is the reason why they didn't want to talk to media about the plight of firefighters, about the conditions, about what had happened at the building of Lisbon and other things in the wake of that particular fire. So we saw a lot of candid talk, a lot of allegations being made by various members within this union, within this labor union. But it was a very, very interesting memorial, Sakina.
It certainly was. You know, we spoke there about danger pay amongst one of the demands that they made. But they obviously seized the opportunity, seeing that they had the eyes of the country and, you know, even beyond our borders on them. And they also had leadership of this country and of the province there in that venue. So what were some of the other issues that they raised?
You know, the union really said a lot of things around the conditions, some things that I don't even think people who were working alongside the firefighters were aware of, families weren't aware of. They spoke about that we have a disaster or an emergency services that's within crisis, not just in Johannesburg, countrywide. They spoke about the situation and the events leading up to the fire. How could we or their management allow workers going into a building knowing it's non-compliant? Them even again reiterating that they've made a call that they are not going to allow members to enter any of those 9 buildings that they now know are non-compliant. And what they're going to do Monday, they're going to get the names of those particular buildings and they're going to put it up in call centers, so that when the call comes for them to respond to disasters there, they are not going to respond. That's
very interesting. Zweli, he was also in attendance there, and he had some interesting things to say as well.
You know what stood out for me from Zweli and what was shocking is that in the Johannesburg district where firefighters operate, there's only 7 fire engines, Sakina. That is quite shocking. That was a massive, he dropped a bombshell there. We're supposed to have 104. He said we call it a world-class city, supposedly. But how can it be a world-class city when government knows the state of certain inner city buildings and they send their people in there to cut costs? One, he spoke about that it's one because of budget, it's negligence from employers as well as from their own management as firefighters. But damning allegations, as I said there, from Zweli, really giving us a lot to think about. The firefighters also asked for their own Minister of Public Safety. That was another, quite an interesting call that they made there, demanding alongside that danger pay, danger allowance, something that they don't get. Talking about the gear, talking about the hours that they work. They work for something like 20 hours. And you know, the state that we've heard that this building has been in, their equipment is so outdated. We were told that they were only able to walk up to the 10th floor because it was so heavy, Sakina. So that tells you what was waiting for those firefighters when they ran into that burning building.
Gillian, thanks for coming through and highlighting those issues for us. It certainly was a very, very interesting memorial service, and of course I'm sure SABC will keep you posted on the burials as they happen in Gauteng, in Limpopo and also in KwaZulu-Natal.